Well, welcome to the Helping Families Be Happy podcast, where we explore the often messy world of family, love, and relationships. I'm your host for this podcast, Christopher Robbins, the co-founder of Familias, husband, father of 9, author, fly fisherman, and backpacker based in the beautiful Central Valley of California. We hope to bring you nourishing, real-life information about love, family, relationships, and life. Now, today we're exploring ornithology and art, based on the new book, Hear Them Sing, Songs and Calls from North American Birds. The podcast aligns with the Familias Habits Learn Together, Read Together, and Play Together. You can learn more about the Familias 10 Habits of Happy Families by going to the Habit Hub blog on familias.com. For the video of this podcast, please go to the Familias YouTube channel. Well, I'm happy to introduce today's guest, Zev Labinger. Now, Zev is a visual artist, musician, and ecologist. Born in 1962 in the USA, he later immigrated to Israel in 1986, all because of the birds, where he now lives with his wife and 2 daughters. His interest in nature, and specifically birds together with art, has been an almost lifelong pursuit starting when he was 11 years old. He received his BSc in Wildlife and Fisheries Biology at the University of California, Davis in 1985, and his MSc cum laude at the Department of Zoology, Tel Aviv University, Israel in 1991. During this time, he also studied art at the University of California, Davis, Santa Barbara City College, California, and in Israel at Emek Zizriel and Oranim colleges. I don't know if I said that right, but we did our best. Zev has worked as a wildlife biologist with the U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and as an environmental consultant with a variety of government agencies, consulting firms, and NGOs. In Israel, he was the conservation and research coordinator for the Israel Ornithological Center of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, the SPNI, for over 15 years until becoming a full-time artist. He is the Israeli representative for the international organization Artists for Nature Foundation and has exhibited in Israel and internationally. His works can be found in private collections, museums, books, and field guides. Fascinated by how things work, especially how things work together, his art spans from traditional nature art to dealing with the intersection between nature and society. He is the initiator and coordinator for the Hula Valley International Artists for Nature and assisted with the Dead Sea Artists for Nature project that brought nature artists from around the world to raise awareness of these world-renowned landscapes. Well, that may be one of the longest bios I have ever read on this podcast, Zev. But thank you for joining us. What a vita.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
And it's all about the birds.
It's all about the birds. Yeah, it's been a major part of my life, like you mentioned. Yeah, I guess it was 5th grade. I had a teacher who was very into birds, and she did kind of a group learning about birds. We had like a separate group during the year. And as part of that, I started to draw. She wanted to have like little index cards to learn the birds. So I started to draw the birds then because I was already into drawing. And yeah, and it's just, it's what brought me through the university and my work, and basically brought me to Israel. And I met my wife, who is also an ornithologist.
Mm.
And yeah,
So I have to say, I really like birds, but I don't know if you remember this Disney film called The Lion King. And there's a scene in The Lion King where Mufasa, who is the dead father, it's a very Hamlet theme here. The dead father, he's up in the clouds, as a spirit, and Simba, the young lion, is looking up, and Mufasa says to him, "Remember who you are." And I saw a T-shirt the other day that had a little chicken, and he was looking up, and in the clouds, and there was a T-Rex, and it said, "Remember who you are."
that's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. I love
So
it.
I've always loved the fact that we still have dinosaurs walking around and flying around us. It's kind of
I
fun.
know. And I only recently, I just finished reading a great book, Otherworldly. and it's about the evolution of life on Earth. It's really well written. And it's not new to me, but I was thinking that, and before I got into birds when I was a kid, I was really into dinosaurs, which I guess a lot of kids are. And when I was a kid, there wasn't that connection. Nobody thought that birds were dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And that now, now it's a well-known fact. So it's kind of
So,
interesting.
so you worked on a book with Familius called Hear Them Sing, where you illustrated these birds um, throughout North America, and some sing and some call. But it says, what did you enjoy about that process?
Wow. I enjoyed it all, actually. One of the things that was really new to me was to paint the eggs. I don't think I'd ever painted an egg before. Maybe in something with a nest or, a partial piece of an egg, but I found it really fun to to investigate the different eggs of the different birds, and not all of them are oval, some of them are round, some of them are flattened, even their shapes and the colors, and then there's a big diversity. Anyway, that was really fun to me. Um, and it was a surprise when the book layout came out that you took all the eggs and arranged them from the smallest to the largest, which I just thought was brilliant. I really, really loved that. Um, but I love painting birds. So just doing the birds themselves, and doing the nests, and everything about it is always fun to me. And from the art point of view, it's a challenge, but that's what interests me, is how to do the composition of the pages, and how to put the birds and make it kind of interesting. And um
Huh. Well, I have a question about eggs. So, when I look at that page of all the different eggs from the species that we have provided in that book, along with their calls and songs, they're different colors. Like, as an ornithologist, do you know why a robin's egg is blue?
You know, I you I don't think anybody can say exactly why certain birds, like a robin, will be blue, but there are certain traits that either they feel belong to, or are the result of competition and evolution. And so most birds that nest in a cavity have white eggs. So and they don't have to worry about camouflage.
Mm.
So eggs that are out in the open, birds that lay eggs on the ground, like ducks, and well, ducks are a little bit of an exclusion there too. But a lot of the plovers and things, their eggs are speckled, and so they're camouflaging them. But why a robin has a blue egg is kind of interesting. Even though I imagine that in a forest under the shade of trees with all the green, I think blue, for sure, blue is going to stand out less than white,
Hmm.
maybe even less than speckled. But yeah.
Well, there you go. We don't know for certain. If somebody knows, please email Familius. All right. Now, you're an ornithologist. Just for our readers, what does that mean?
Well, orni is Latin for bird, and thology is really just the study of. So it's really just the study of birds, and it's basically um, it's basically a researcher and or a scientist of any kind that studies birds in depth. I mean, there are bird watchers and birders, and that's not necessarily an ornithologist who also will look at the evolution and conservation and all sorts of other aspects.
Have you ever seen the film The Big Year?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so then I have to ask, how many species of birds have you actually seen?
That's there was a time where I kept my lists. I was really good about it, and I let that go a while ago. So I don't know how many I've seen worldwide. I did my US the total US that you can get is like 730 or 40 species. And at some point I had like 500 and something. And worldwide, probably a few thousand.
Hmm.
But there's over 10,000 species. So,
And probably, are there any more birds being discovered, or have we discovered them all?
well, no, there are new birds. It's mostly birds that they thought were, they categorized everybody into one species, and then they start to break them apart and realize that, they call them subspecies at some point, and then they break them apart and say, no, they're a full species.
Okay. Well, let's shift over to art. You say that you like to understand how things work. So, how has art and painting helped you better understand the natural world and how things work? And I should say, I finished that great biography of Leonardo da Vinci by Walter Isaacson, and I was just fascinated at how he really viewed nature as a way to help him with his art.
Yeah. And he used his art to understand nature, especially morphology, looking at dead things and pulling things apart, but he would draw them. And I think actually, for me, it helped, all through school, that I loved in the science classes, especially to sit and draw the cells and draw the different pieces. But I think that there's also, and this is what I tell my students, is that if you're able, as you draw it, you understand something a lot deeper than just looking at it. Um, to draw it, you have to really understand it. You have to understand it in 3 dimensions. You have to understand what all the pieces are in there. And so I feel like even in school and in university, everything, I was always drawing it. I was drawing all the different species and all the different in botany and elsewhere. Um, but what really fascinates me, and I think that that's my other connection in nature, is I really like to sketch and paint from observation. So I go out regularly to, usually with my sketchbooks, and I observe birds and other animals and plants and landscape painting and so forth. But I really believe in this, doing it from observation and not using a photograph all the time and just copying something. And I think there is something in that works both ways. I understand nature better through doing that, and 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 something in nature is also going into my work and into my art. How that each is really affecting one another is I think, is part of the mystery that makes me keep painting and exploring, because I don't really understand it myself, what that draw is, what that passion is for so long.
That's interesting because you said that really to understand something, you need to draw it. And in writing, we say that writing forces clarity of thought. And I would imagine that art does the same thing.
Yeah, 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 and exactly. I think it's exactly like writing too.
Hmm. Okay. Now, um, is there a difference? We say that you illustrated this book, Hear Them Sing, but is there a difference between illustration and art, or are they the same?
Right, it's such a great question, because um, there are people in the art world that will look at a lot of my work and say it's illustrated, and there's illustrators that might call it art. It's something, I think, everybody grapples with. I don't think that there's really a hard line between the two. But I did once talk to an illustrator that he said, "I am not an artist, I am an illustrator." And I asked him that question, and I thought he had a good answer. And that was, he said, "An illustrator figures out exactly what they're gonna do before they do it, and they execute it exactly like they wanted. And an artist is searching all the time.
Mm.
And even within the work itself, you have this feeling of searching, of grappling with something. So there is, and so, like, and especially like for a book like this, I would do sketches on the side, but I would come up with a composition and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I would sit down and do it exactly like that. Whereas if I'm painting a big painting and it from a different point of view, from an artist's point of view, I may start in one place and go somewhere else and change things on the way and leave parts, and so it's a different process too, I
Okay.
think.
Art is searching, illustrate, you know what you're doing from the very beginning. That's an interesting way of describing it. Okay, do you have a favorite bird that you like to paint or draw?
Uh, well, for years and years and years, I think it's still there. I really like the birds of prey.
Hmm.
When I was younger, I was also a falconer for a while, mostly taking care of injured birds or young birds that fell out of nests. And I was kind of known in the town that I grew up that people could bring me the young kestrels and barn owls and things. But yeah, I was always fascinated with birds of prey, and I think I still really like to paint them.
You know that.
It's a lot less today. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you remember the cartoonist Gary Larson?
yeah. One
He,
of my favorites.
he has a illustration of birds of prey up in a tree. They're all wearing sunglasses, and it says, "Birds of prey know they're cool."
There-
So, okay, you illustrated this book, Hear Them Sing. So, talk about, the importance of books, and especially bird books in your youth. And the last question, what do you hope that people get from this book that you help bring into the world?
Mm, nice, nice. Well, growing up before all of the YouTube, computers, telephones, and all of that, for me, books were a lifeline, and especially as a kid. And I actually still have several of my first bird books that I ever got. And I would just go over them, and especially looking at the illustrations. Most of the bird books at the time were illustrated, and still some of my big heroes, Roger Tory Peterson and Arthur Singer, and some of these great bird illustrators. Um, and yeah, when I had my bar mitzvah at 13, almost everybody gave me bird books. That was They knew that was the thing, but it was books. I mean, I don't know how many people, get books today at 13. So yeah, so it was really important to me. And it was really a big part of my of my also the art, and also the nature part of it. And I love to read. I read all the time.
Mm.
So books are a big part of that. Um, I think, as far as what I would love to get, or what to give to people through this book, is to have children get excited about birds, and especially that I think birds can be like a stepping off place to just appreciating nature and wanting to go out and see nature. Um, I think that feeling that either the child opens the book and sees maybe the blue jay, and says, I know that bird from outside, and all of a sudden can see it. And I think it works the other way too. And I remember with myself that I knew birds from the book, and then all of a sudden one day I saw them in real life, and it kind of makes that connection. Um, and I have to say, it's been really fun to see, also, people that I have on social media, um, friends and people who are friends that I don't really know, but um, that are sending me pictures of their kids with the book,
Mm.
and saying how great it is, and then, even random. people talking about how their kids are loving the book. And so, I mean, the thought that there's all these children around the world now that are looking through and you know, getting excited or enjoying the book, and part of it is my illustrations. It's probably one of the greatest feelings you can have, I think.
It's fun to come up with an idea right out of the air, create something physical, and have it go into the world and people enjoy it. It's a magical experience. It's like art where you have a blank canvas and you create something that's never been seen before.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
Yeah, the creative process that you really goes from nothing into something, and that can then affect people around the world.
Yeah. Well, the book is Hear Them Sing, Songs and Calls from North American Birds, published by Familius and available wherever books are sold. Well, as always, it's such a fun time to chat with you, Zev. It's a pleasure. Where can our guests find you online?
So I have a website, Zev Labinger Art, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook, the same name. So always happy to have people write me and comment. And by the way, I'm like most of my artwork, it's also for sale, and so I also have the original paintings from the book that maybe somebody might want someday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as we conclude today's podcast, I'd like to thank Familius for its support in bringing the podcast to your ears and your heart. We'd be thrilled if you subscribed to the podcast and left a review. And when you're ready for that next amazing book adventure, we'd be honored if you chose a book from Familius. One step at a time, one bird song at a time, we can make the world a happier place.